Gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. It is March 28, 2025, and we have a very interesting end of the month on the way. We have already got the PCE data. This was the other set of hard data that we were looking for. Besides the GDP, the core did come in a little hotter. I wouldn't say it was the worst thing, but definitely enough to give a little bit to anybody that was thinking that we were going to thinking we were going to be going down. You do have the consumer sentiment coming in, and then even as the data came out, we also got comments from China. There was a big meeting with Xi Jinping and a lot of other people, and he was talking about working with the U.S., but it did come off pretty hawkishly. And then Donald Trump and the Prime Minister of Canada, I believe they are together right now. I think within the next 30 minutes or so, we might hear about a phone call or a readout. So we'll see where it all takes us. It is not the end of the month. You still actually have Monday, and then next week, Wednesday, we get Liberation Day, but there might be a little bit of action here. And really, do we fall back into volatility or not? Is this a new path, or is this what we did last time with the trade war? So we will find out, baby, but we made it through the week, and now it's Friday. Good morning. What up, baby? What up, Lucky? Joshua, Noah, Ivan, Leo, Motivation, Zoraj, baby. What's going on? Good morning, Chris, Alex, Anzo, PNC, baby. King, what's going on, baby? Brown Tom Cruz, KLU, Joshua, Laker, Jay. Good morning, baby. What's going on, Jamar? Stranger Danger, Winning Loser, Zach Perez, Open Face Sandwich, baby. Good morning. Thoughts and Emotions, Energy, baby. Let's go. George, John, Dos, Charbel, Liquid, Skittle, Deco, Tyree, baby. Happy Friday. Humble Business in the house. Good morning. What up, Mayhem? What up, Battleborn? What up, Marcus Hanlon? How you doing? Julie, Psych, Dakota. Good morning, baby. What about that Twitch? Payday Devil, Stock Sasquatch, Lily, Lizzie, Ire, Beagle, Blowing Dough, Dev Patel, Feed Me Seymour, Toy Soldier, Epic Eric, Robo Handtech, and Pie Guy, baby. Good morning. Good morning. So, Chad, let's have a good Friday. Not like an Easter Good Friday, but like an amazing Friday. And here is Josh AI with the news. Good morning. Burp. Stocks fall as trade war clouds economic outlook. Stocks fell after the U.S. pushed ahead with tariffs on automakers, reinforcing concern about a widening trade war and offsetting data that showed faster than estimated growth in the world's largest economy. Just days before the end of a quarter that's set to be the worst for the S&P 500 since 2023, the gauge slipped anew. Car giants from Toyota Motor Corp to Mercedes-Benz Group AG and General Motors Company got hit. AppLovin Corp sank on a short report from Muddy Waters. Mega caps were mixed, with Apple Inc. up and Nvidia Corp down. In late hours, Lululemon Athletica Inc. gave a gloomy outlook. The bond market flashed concerns about inflation as short-dated treasuries outperformed longer ones. President Donald Trump signed a proclamation to implement a 25% tariff on auto imports and pledged harsher punishment on the EU and Canada if they join forces against the U.S. The move overshadowed data showing the economy expanded at a quicker pace in the fourth quarter than previously estimated. A measure of inflation was revised lower. To Brett Kenwell at eToro, the data won't act as a major confidence boost for investors as their focus is firmly planted in the current economic landscape rather than the one from a few months ago. Investors will want to see inline or better inflation results in a strong employment number to gain some reassurance, he said. Inflation remains at a disquieting level for the Federal Reserve, and Friday's personal consumption expenditures price index is forecast to show signs of stickiness. Friday's inflation data will provide a snapshot of price pressures and economic activity leading up to Trump's planned April 2nd announcement on reciprocal tariffs, which he has dubbed Liberation Day in America. General uncertainty about the impact of the duties help explain why Fed officials kept interest rates unchanged last week. The threat of further tariff escalation remains a key concern, but our economic forecasts do not call for a recession in the U.S., said Mark Hayfley at UBS Global Wealth Management. For markets, the question is whether anything will be able to rise above the tariff noise, according to Chris Larkin at Trade for Morgan Stanley. In the near term, the most likely scenario is more choppy trading, he said to Craig Johnson at Piper Sandler. Despite the heightened uncertainty surrounding tariffs and inflation, there are technical signals suggesting an intermediate term low may be in place. So while the path to a more meaningful recovery is often not a straight line upward, it appears that equities have found some footing off the March lows from which to build upon in the upcoming weeks, he said. Pessimism among individual investors about the short-term outlook for stocks decreased in the latest sentiment survey from the American Association of Individual Investors. Meanwhile, optimism and neutral sentiment increased, with stocks getting a respite from the selling last week and into early this week. We expected some subsiding of the extremely high levels of bearish sentiment in the weekly survey from the AAI, said Bespoke Investment Group strategist. Bespoke noted that while bearish sentiment dropped, this week's reading was still above 50% and higher than 96.8% of all prior weekly readings since 1987. U.S. equities will soon regain their long-held edge over European peers as the brighter outlook for the old continent stocks is limited to sectors such as defense and banks, according to Jean Boivin, head of the BlackRock Investment Institute. So this is a pretty narrow European story, Boivin said in an interview. There's no strong conviction yet to play Europe over the U.S. over a 6 to 12-month horizon. We need to see more fiscal impetus beyond defense and implementation will be key. CoreWeave raises $1.50 billion in downsized IPO below price target. CoreWeave Inc. raised $1.5 billion in its initial public offering, a downsized deal that reflects how stock market volatility is hurting demand for even highly anticipated listings. The cloud computing provider sold 37.5 million shares at $40 apiece, it said in a statement, confirming an earlier Bloomberg News report. That's down from an initial plan of 49 million shares at $47 to $55 each. That could have raised as much as $2.7 billion. The shares will begin trading Friday on the NASDAQ under the ticker CRWV. Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan Chase & Company, and Goldman Sachs Group Inc. are joint lead bookrunners for the IPO. U.S. seeks to control Ukraine investments, squeezing out Europe. The U.S. is pushing to control all major future infrastructure and mineral investments in Ukraine, potentially gaining a veto over any role for Kiev's other allies and undermining its bid for European Union membership. President Donald Trump's administration is demanding the right of first offer on investments in all infrastructure and natural resources projects under a revised partnership deal with Ukraine, according to a draft of the document obtained by Bloomberg News. She woos global business leaders as Trump intensifies trade war. Chinese President Xi Jinping called on global business leaders to push back against protectionism, seeking to take advantage of growing backlash to rising U.S. tariffs to promote his country as a reliable partner. Xi on Friday made a veiled critique of Donald Trump's trade actions, touting China's stability at a meeting in Beijing with some 40 corporate leaders, including Stephen A. Schwartzman of Blackstone Inc., Judy Marks of Otis Worldwide Corp., and J.Y. Lee of Samsung Electronics Company. His comments came a day after the American president intensified his trade war and prompted threats of retaliation from the EU and other allies. Some countries are building a small yard with high fences, erecting tariff barriers, politicizing business issues, using them as breaking news. EU plans concessions for Trump after reciprocal tariffs hit. So that's good news. Yeah, there it is, baby. Good morning.
Tools and weapons, she said at the Great Hall of the People, without naming any nation. I hope you will share your sensible views and take actions to push back against the retrogressive rules and the zero-sum games, he said. Strongest Myanmar quake in a century rocks Thailand, Vietnam. Myanmar was struck by its biggest earthquake in a century, shaking buildings and triggering evacuations in neighboring Vietnam and Thailand, with at least one tower collapsing in Bangkok and reports of several casualties. On The quake on Friday measured 7.7 in magnitude, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, which said it was 16 kilometers, 9.9 miles, northwest of Sagaing, Myanmar, and at a depth of 10 kilometers. It struck at about 1:21 p.m. in Bangkok and was the strongest worldwide since 2023. According to USGS data compiled by Bloomberg, there was a second temblor of 6.4 magnitude around the same area, the USGS said. Top overnight news, Elon Musk commented that their goal is to reduce the deficit by USD 1 TLN and will achieve most of that objective within a 130-day tenure, while he added that legitimate recipients of Social Security benefits will receive more, not less money, according to Fox News. Global bonds rallied as European consumer price data came in softer than expected, and investors awaited data on the Federal Reserve's favored inflation gauge. Inflation in France and Spain undershot expectations, supporting calls for more interest rate cuts by the European Central Bank. The Zuffenhausen district of Stuttgart has been the heart of Porsche AG since the 1930s, and the sports car maker remains overwhelmingly made in Germany, making it potentially the biggest loser in Donald Trump's trade war. UK retail sales increased for a second month in February, suggesting consumer confidence is returning in a surprise boost for Chancellor of the Exchequer Rachel Reeves. The rally in European banking stocks shows few signs of cooling down after another stellar quarter. Fed's Collins 2025 voter said she is cautiously and realistically optimistic about the economy and stated the economy started 2025 in a good place. Collins said inflation had come down but was still elevated at the start of the year, and the outlook now is much cloudier for inflation and growth. She noted it is inevitable that tariffs will increase inflation in the near term, and it remains a question how long tariff-driven inflation will last. Furthermore, she said inflation risks are on the upside, and she strongly supported the Fed's decision to hold rates steady, while she expects the Fed will likely hold rates steady for longer given the outlook, and stated that watching inflation expectations and sentiment data is important right now. Fed's Barkin 2027 voter said the current moderately restrictive stance is a good place to be, and if conditions shift, the Fed can adjust. Barkin said given recent high inflation, tariffs could have more of an impact on prices, but still not known where rates will settle or how affected countries, businesses, and consumers will respond. Barkin also commented that the direction of federal policy changes may be known, but the extent and how they net out in the economy remains uncertain, while he added federal policy changes create instability in the near term, and the Fed is waiting for uncertainty to clear before acting. No BBG. That was just a Fed comment, baby. Good morning. So yeah, you just got the you got that EU news right now and then everything else, but there's a little bit more. S&P futures, they're down by 0.3 Friday. Pre-market trading comes after somewhat of a choppy Thursday session that saw stocks end largely lower with big tech mix. After a big Wednesday sell-off, major indexes on track for a modest gain for the week. Treasuries firmer with the curve flattening, yields down 2 to 5 basis points, but still higher than a week to date. Dollar's up by 0.1, gold is up by 0.8, adding to Thursday's big gain. Bitcoin down by 2.1, and WTI flat but on track for its third consecutive weekly gain. The tariff narrative continues to dominate labor market or market discussions, with investors looking ahead for April 2nd announcements on reciprocals in hopes of at least diminishing uncertainties, yet still good deal of anxiety about potential impacts. Media coverage of week's 25% tariff notes potential for higher prices to domestic consumers, though Trump reportedly warned U.S. automakers not to raise prices, and yesterday's PM Carney stressed that nothing is off the table in terms of retaliation. Alongside this, growth fears, hawkish-leaning Fed speak continue to weigh, though potential positives include month, quarter-end rebalancing dynamics and cleaner positioning. February core PCE up by 0.4 month over month, hotter than the 0.3 in January. Headline was in line at 0.3. February personal income and spending both printed better than forecast. Final Michigan consumer sentiment report comes out later today. Recall the flash reading was the lowest since March 22, and the 1-5-year expectations both rose. Fed speak both will include Governor Barr and Bostic, though monetary policy commentary may be limited. Attention largely pulled ahead to next week, which will feature Trump reciprocal announcement, ISM, and March non-farm payrolls.
Not a lot of corporate updates. Lulu earnings and revenue ahead, though noted comps a bit light and focus on guidance miss. Flag impacts from the dollar, China and Mexico tariffs. QXM or OXM guidance was weak, as well as management calling out a decelerating consumer demand. BRZE beat and guided above, with management highlighting customer contract expansion as well as new business. AAR talked up sales growth, margin expansion, and healthy demand. AGX posted a big beat and talked about solid backlog. INR beat and first report since January IPO outside of earnings. Reports Nippon Steel may pledge $7 billion in U.S. investments to preserve deal for X, and Mitsui Sumitomo to take 15% stake in Warby Parker. Wow. Trump warned auto executives not to raise prices in response to tariffs, but unclear how he could respond if they do. American consumers face higher car prices and less choice under Trump tariffs. EU weighs targeting U.S. service exports, including big tech operations in Europe, in response to Trump tariffs. EU to set enforce minimal fines on Apple and Meta under DMA to prevent escalation of U.S. trade. Canada PM says old U.S.-Canada relationship is over, requiring need to renegotiate trade and security relationship. Tariffs upend global auto industry, deal major blow to Asian autos and German luxury brands. Japan PM Toshiba weighs policy support measures amid concerns Trump tariffs will have significant economic impact. China exporters squeezed by tariffs that face the lack of alternative to U.S. market. Trump about to reopen a trade war with China left over from his first term. IP theft. Top chip makers slowing pace of expansion in Japan and Malaysia amid tariff uncertainty and soft demand for older chips. Novo faces setback amid rising competition from Eli Zepbound. Lululemon guides full-year sales below expectation as consumers cut back on spending. U.S. department store Macy's and Kohl's close brick-and-mortar stores as they struggle to remain relevant. Nippon Steel may offer Trump up to $7 billion U.S. investment to preserve United States deal. Ubisoft spins out new unit for Assassin's Creed and other games to Tencent for $1.25 billion. CoreWeave downsizes U.S. IPO, investors concerned over companies' reliance on Microsoft and capital intensity. U.S. travel demand falters under Trump uncertainty, prompting airlines to reduce capacity. French and Spanish inflation undershoots expectations, supporting the calls for ECB rate cut. German consumer confidence stable with implementation and fiscal package key. Joblessness ticks higher, though. UK GDP revised estimates show slightly better first half 24 growth. Retail sales defy expectations with surge. Tokyo inflation unexpectedly accelerates amid surge in rice. South Korean export growth forecast to have risen in March, underpinned by semis. Boston Fed Collins says inevitable that tariffs will raise inflation, making it appropriate to keep rates steady. Bank of Japan debated domestic price pressures and U.S. risks at March meeting. Goldman pushes RBA rate cut call for April to May. Value stocks have rare momentum in the face of year's equity sell-off, but upcoming earnings will be the key test. JP Morgan says corporate bond buyers need more compensation for tariff-related risk, anticipates slower foreign inflows in the U.S. credit market. Confident in the European market bull run rattled by Trump's tariff policy. Elon Musk says Doge aiming to finalize $1 trillion in cost cuts by the end of May. CBO projects deficits continuing to rise a percentage of GDP over the next 30 years. Trump withdraws Elise Stefanik's nomination as UN ambassador. Internal White House document shows federal agencies preparing to cut 8 to 50% of employees as part of a plan to shrink the government. Many serving in Trump admin do not have decades of experience or deep knowledge of its rules and why they exist, former official says. China President Xi meets with global business leaders in Beijing. Sources say U.S. is pushing more expensive mineral deal with Ukraine. Putin proposes UN-led temporary admin in Ukraine to facilitate elections and peace talks. Intelligence experts say signal link blunder gives foreign adversaries priceless insight into U.S. spycraft. And then Australian PM Albanese announces federal elections to be held on May 3rd. Wow. Amen. Amen. People are talking about the EU thing. We haven't heard. Again, Trump is talking with Canada, or he's going to be doing that any minute now. But you got to pop here from that EU concession. But we got some pre-market movers, baby. So good morning. I hope you watched yesterday's watch list. I have a couple of ideas. But as far as movers, AppLovin, they bounced after that short report. CEO responds, says Pixel functionality is standard. Warby Parker is up by 8.6. Sumitomo Insurance to take 15% stake. Oh, wait, no, that's not Warby Parker. That's WR Berkeley. AU is up 3.9. SMCI 2.1. Tesla up 1.3. AGX is up by 14.6 off earnings. Breeze up 11.7 to acquire AutoFit for $325 million earnings in Q1 guidance. RKLB is up 7.4, awarded $5.6 billion billion contract alongside Stoke Space. X is up by 4.6. Nippon Steel may offer $7 billion U.S. investment. QDEL up 4. Beam up 3.4. Bank of America upgrade. FDA clears IND Beam for the treatment of AATD. LXRX is up by 95. License agreement with Novo. TMC is up by 14 to apply permits for existing U.S. mining for deep sea minerals in the high seas. CVAC up 14.3 receives positive validity decision from European Patent Office. Bowen is up by 13. Cooler up 13 off earnings. HRO up 10. Earnings full year guide. HPP up 4.7. BMO upgrade. Huma up 3. CEO releases statement on New York Times article. Lululemon up by 11. Earnings and fiscal guide. MSTR down 2.9. Nothing. Eldos down 2.7. Contract ended with Department of Defense. Same thing with Oracle. They're down 2. Clack down 1.1. Jeffries downgrade. Voya down 2.5 off a downgrade. DV down 1.8. Bear downgrade. And then Mist is down 61. CRL for Cardamist. Wow. Chatadonia. There it is, baby. There it is. Woo! Regulator says port deal will be reviewed to protect fair competition. Wow. But Chad, do you know what I care about? You know what I feel? Yes, sir. It's game time. And here at the Cult, baby, before we do anything, before we try to chase a dollar, before we try to enrich ourselves, we must pay homage to a very special group of people that has made a sacrifice that most of us never have and ever will. And I'm talking about the veterans of the United States of America. So on behalf of the Cult, the people here, the people not here, I want to give a huge special shout out. Active servicemen, past servicemen, anybody who has served this country, even the families, because they made their sacrifice too. Thank you for your service and commitment to this country. If anybody should be getting a long-term, we see people celebrating day in, day out. Oh, look what Donald did. Oh, look what Joe did. Look what Elizabeth. No, look what the veterans did day in and day out. Every single time. Nothing would have happened if we didn't have people who stepped up to the plate day in and day out. So your service is honorable. The least I could do is honor it, man. And if anything, please let us help. Y'all get that crib, get that long term. And if you didn't serve, you should be showing this love. You should be showing this appreciation, because every day we are enjoying the freedoms that a lot of us did not really contribute to. So veterans, thank you, thank you, thank you. And big shout out to everybody else out there giving back to their local communities, doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, anybody making their community run, baby. God bless you and thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Oh, it's game time, baby. Horna. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Wake up, baby. It's Friday. It's Friday, son. It's Friday. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Y'all ready? Oh, yeah. Game time. All right, baby. We got a good time. We actually got like 7 minutes, man. We hella early. We out here, baby. We out here. So, time to move on over. Time to go to Gen Pop. I hope you got your plays ready. I got a couple. I'll share them with you. But I think we're only going to do one. I don't know. We're going to see, baby. Thank you, Vince. Amen. Happy birthday, Christina. Happy birthday. Oh, yeah, another one. Amen. So here it is. I'll see you guys in Gen Pop. Let's have a great day. Let's live it up, baby. God bless and good morning, and I will see you there. And bye. 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 Oh, I got to turn to Twitch. My bad, Twitch. Yeah. I left them hanging. All right, peace.